Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Anyways, and we brought one of our favorite guests to help go over a lot of the volatility we've had in the financial markets, and we brought our own financial planner with us. How about that?
Yep, and we spoke, and this is Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions, who is our financial planner, and we weren't even worried about it. Ultimately, Chris knows we don't check our portfolios very often because we don't want to get emotional about them.
Well, we do. He does review us, but we don't have to check on a daily basis because there's a thought process behind it. He knows our goals, and we don't have to, micromanage it because Chris is handling it. Right, Chris?
That's right.
It's goal-based planning. It's not reactionary.
Right.
Right. And so we had a chat when the world was melting down a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, should we buy anything?
Well, okay, we're going to tee you up, Chris, and Chris is going to go over a really good topic. We haven't gone over in 5 years, believe it or not, and it's something you need to know regarding financial planning.
The dirty secret.
Yeah. But what's really nice is that, when we work with Chris, again, we don't have to look at our portfolio on a regular basis in any way, shape, or form. It's handled, and I didn't look at it. And especially when the market tanked, I love it when actually it tanks and everybody else is panicking. Chris actually calls us up occasionally when the opportunity is right and goes, hey, this is a buying opportunity. So when everybody's bummed, he's actually, this is a good thing. That's fun. So when you call, we do answer.
Yeah, I've noticed that, actually.
I know. Don't tell my mom or my wife or any of those, or my dad or anybody else on the long list of people that don't get answered.
Right. Hey, do they have as good advice as Chris?
I don't know, but they're not holding my money.
Again, we're here with our good friend, and literally, I see him almost every day at the gym, lifting small trucks and cows at the gym. He's so dedicated to everything he does. Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions, a great friend of ours, and always calm, cool, and collected, and knows his craft. And you brought some really good topics for us today. This is stuff that everyone should know about, and they don't think about, or they don't understand them, and they hear the wrong things.
Or they're afraid to ask.
That too.
That happens a lot also.
Well, you're a nice guy. They can ask you anything.
Yeah, people are still nervous about the topic. They don't seem to ask. I like to bring it up. But it is pretty rare that somebody actually wants to know the details of what they're paying for financial advice.
So we're going to talk about the fees.
Yes.
You actually, financial planners make money to help you manage your
It's amazing.
wealth?
Everybody thinks we should
deal?
work for free.
Right.
It's
Like
often
us, too.
like, well, what do you mean you're going to make money on this? But no, we actually get paid to provide the advice. But there's different ways that we get paid, and so we'll talk about that today and kind of go over those.
Yeah, we talk about that in our industry where the people go, I'm just going to go online and get a home loan. I'm like, well, check out that advice. See how that works out for you.
Right. Which, and I tell people it's fine. I have clients that they were they invested their own accounts and they managed their own money for years and years and years, and they eventually got to a place where they and they were very good at it, but they eventually got to a place where they said, I actually need an advisor. So there is a difference, and there are people that are probably fine doing it on their own, and the vast majority aren't. So that's why I have a job.
Yeah, and then, and then it depends. Not only is the reality is that do you need the advice or not? Can you be a good trader on your own? Maybe you can, but is that your highest and best use? And do you really want to spend time doing that when you have something better to do?
Okay. And here's the other last thing, and we'll get Chris. We'll actually get you included, but is the emotional side of things. When you're emotionally tied to your own finances, are you going to make the right decisions? Where, Chris, you're not emotionally tied to it. You just do your job.
Right. And here's the other thing is that everybody forgets. Everybody thinks it's about picking investments and trading. If you want to just trade stocks online, that's one thing. But the vast majority of people that work with me, they're not just looking for what are we doing with that account? How are we going to invest that money that I have? It's the big picture. It's talking about their finances. It's talking about what to do with their mortgage and the equity in their home, and when do they want to retire? When should they retire? What should they be spending and saving? And there's so much more to it that people forget that we do on a daily basis to try and help people get to their goal. The goal is not the amount of money you have in the bank. The goal is to get you to that place of financial freedom, happiness, and where you want to go in the future.
Yeah, and I could share from my personal experience, I'll bring up, I know enough about stocks and bonds and securities to be dangerous, so I'm always bringing stuff up to Chris, and he has to say, no, Gino, you don't need more real estate. You don't need more real estate. you don't need more real estate, and I'm addicted to real
So
estate.
you
I can't
know
help
you
it,
know just enough karate to get your butt kicked.
Exactly. But that's great advice, right? If it was up to me, I would have bought into some REITs because, and I might have done well in this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it was good, sound advice to say you're already heavy in that investment. Let's move your money to a different type of category so that if something goes wrong in that field, you're not all in that field.
Nobody went broke when the housing market crashed, did they?
Just me.
Half the nation because they were heavy into it. So good advice is important. That's why we work with you, Chris.
That's great.
And like I said, we walk the walk. You handle a lot of Skyline Home Loans financial portfolios, and we appreciate it. And it's very comfortable. I don't worry about mine anymore. And we have great conversations. We go over what the next steps are and goals, and things change, so we adjust accordingly. And it makes I'm very comfortable. Like I said, when the stock market went down 600, I didn't blink.
I didn't even blink.
And we've been doing this for 5 years now, where we've seen this over and over. And I love Gino pulled that report from when we did this almost 5 years ago, when the market tanked 600 points, just like it was.
Yep.
And you came in calm on that day too, which is amazing. I'm like, I'm sorry we pulled you away from all the phones. You're like, not really. But you said, just don't panic.
Right.
Don't panic. Don't make reactive moves right now. It'll come back, and it did.
Right.
And it just did again.
Yeah, so I pulled the numbers on that video in 2012. You said the market would recover within a year. We had 11% gains since then. And when I pulled it a couple of weeks ago, even after the little decline, you did 27% gains since that video.
Yep.
So nothing wrong with those numbers.
Nope. Nope.
All right.
And I have a video. If you go to my YouTube channel or my website is ingramfinancialsolutions.com. You can find a video on there where I actually pull up the charts from 2011 and I talk about that volatility, and then I pull up the charts from 2012 and show you what you missed if you let all of the drama of 2011 push you out of the market and into cash, because you missed a great year in 2012 if you did that. And a lot of people did that. They got scared. They thought Greece and Portugal and everything was,
Right.
And
We hit
they
a lot of
exited the
Greece.
market, and 2012 was a great year. So.
Good advice. All right, so obviously you want to stick around because we have Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions. We're going to go over some something that you don't think of when you go to a financial advisor, or you may have not gone to a financial advisor because you've heard horror stories or don't understand what Chris is going to go over, which is, what are the fees that you pay when you work with a financial advisor? Is it one-time fees? Is it consistent fees? Is it commissions? There's different ways to look at that. And Chris is going to enlighten us, because I'm actually looking forward to this, Chris, to find out. I don't even know all the details of it. So when we come back, Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions is going to enlighten you on what are you paying when you get financial advice. When we come back to Don and Gino, Real Estate and Finance Show.